Hi, everybody. My name's Amanda, and I'm with Silver Linings for Seniors. As always, I'm here with Margo Aerosmith, one of our clinicians at Silver Linings. Margo, how are you holding up?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm good. Things here in Florida are starting to be a little more relaxed. They've got the to-go orders at restaurants, and some people can sit outside. What's it looking like in North Carolina?
Well, we've always had to-go orders. I think some people are getting a little more lax. Depends on where you go. At Home Depot, you had to wait in line to get in, but a lot of people didn't have masks on, so I wasn't very comfortable staying. But
Right,
so it,
right.
it comes and goes. It
You
really
know,
depends on people cooperating.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've been quote unquote locked up for almost 8 weeks now, something like that. So, do you still have any tips where people can try and stay positive, or even how about if people are watching the news and they see a lot of negative news? What are some ways to combat that and look at it a little differently?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. I have seen people talk about how it drives them crazy to watch the news all day long. And I have seen other people say, well, the solution to that is just don't watch the news. And it's not an either or situation. My suggestion is the following, and I find it works for me. I don't watch the news as much as I used to. I will say that. However, what I do is I record all of my favorite news programs, and then I pick a time of the day. Again, remember how I said it's good to have a schedule, even though you don't have to. It's in our human nature to do better when we have one. So
Right.
pick a time of the day, schedule that's when you're going to watch the news. Go to your saved list and pick out all the ones that are your favorites. Give yourself however much time you think you need, a half an hour, 40 or an hour, 45 minutes. I wouldn't go much more than an hour because they do repeat themselves a lot anyway. That'll drive you nuts. And then
It's just a
start with,
cycle. It's just a
excuse me?
constant cycle.
Yeah, well, because when they're on 24/7, there's only, even today, there's only so much they can say.
Right.
So what I suggest you do then is to start playing, get the news that you need. You don't have to listen to it all. If it starts to sound repetitive or just a bunch of people saying what they think about it, fast forward and then go to your next program that you like. Also, be sure that while you're doing this, try and pick out some things because there still occasionally are stories that have nothing to do with COVID-19 and listen to them because the news is important. We don't want to suddenly become uninformed, especially now, but we also don't want to drive ourselves crazy. So record your shows, pick a time, fast forward through a lot of it because again it repeats and then you'll be up to date without being inundated with it so that it becomes so oppressive.
Right. I mean, isn't it important to keep in mind not only that it can be redundant, but like the way that it makes you feel? Because in this time when you're so isolated, you don't want to be watching these things that make things feel even more negative than they already are.
Well, exactly. And again, but that doesn't mean you don't want to know anything.
Oh,
Pick
for
a
sure.
have your time during the day when that's what you're going to watch. But you're making a good point, Amanda. I don't know if you've ever binged on a show.
Oh, yeah.
I've done this. Like I binged on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which takes
Hmm.
place in New York in the 1950s. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the 2020s. When I was binging it, I would go outside, and I felt like it was the 1950s, and I was in New York.
Right.
It starts to kind of just seep into you, and if you have it on all day long, that can also happen. That's exactly what you were saying, but
Yeah.
it just starts to feel like it's the whole world.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Um,
I can just say from experience, like sometimes when I'm, let's say, on social media too much, because social media is news as well, or I'm watching the news, I can find myself getting a little paranoid,
yes,
just thinking something's wrong when, I know I haven't been out of the house, so there's no way, but you still have those kind of intruding thoughts.
you do. And again, this isn't a TV show. This is real.
Right.
But again, we don't want to be ignorant. We want to know what's going on. Limit the time. Record, 4 step, record, pick a time, fast forward through a lot of it. you've got what you need without it seeping into your pores and driving you
Right.
crazy.
Because I think a lot of people tend to just kind of have it on the background all day long, where
Uh-huh.
maybe they're cleaning up their house or whatever they're doing, but the news is always on. And whether you know it or not, you're still subconsciously taking all of that in.
Exactly.
And so I think
Exactly.
that's a great idea to just, take it by the hour and just kind of cut yourself off and then pick it up again the next day and see if there's something new on.
Exactly. And if you need to have the TV on all day, I tend to do that. I mean, I'm right now. I'm watching old episodes of Mark Sloan, MD, who's a detective and a doctor. So, I mean, something that really is another world that will take you away. Be
Like,
informed. Don't get inundated.
yeah, agreed. For me, it would be Hallmark. So,
No, it's on Hallmark. Dr. Sloan is on Hallmark.
oh,
So
there you go. Okay, it's perfect then. All right. Well, thank you so much, Margo. Just so everybody, just keep in mind that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So try and use that hashtag. We're all trying to end the stigma around mental health. So just use that when you're on social media. But we will, as always, check in with you guys next week. So I'll see you then, Margo.
bye bye, Amanda. Bye, everybody. Have
Bye,
a healthy, safe
guys.